Hello, this video is for Matt Dillahunty or any skeptic. I heard Matt Dillahunty say something in this argument with this Peterson feller, and he said something along the lines of that he hadn't heard a reasonable argument for God. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a logical and reasonable understanding of why there is a God. And I believe that you are going to be converted by this video, because it isn't. You seem like an intelligent guy, Mr. Dillahunty. Like, I've listened to you, not in depth, but I watched a few of your videos on YouTube, or I watched a little bit of them. And you do seem like you're a reasonable guy. So I'm going to reason out why God is legit in this video, in the next few minutes. So the reason that dying is safe is because time is an illusion. That is Albert Einstein's stance with the block universe, posited in 1905 and proven by atomic clocks, one on an airplane and one on the ground. Like the Einstein twin paradox, you have one twin going off for 10 years at closest speed of light. He returns. His twin is age 70 years. His twin on Earth is age 70 years, and only 10 years went by for him. So time went slower for the guy going close to the speed of light, or time would go slower for someone at the edge of a black hole. These are accepted, known physics. This is Albert Einstein standard physics. Niels deGrasse Tyson teaches the simultaneity of relativity, the block universe. That is taught in every university. If you do not understand the block universe, Mr. Dillahunty, then you need to up your education and get a grip. Because I'm suggesting that even though you may be intelligent, knowledge is unrelated to intelligence. You have to have the knowledge also, which is what I'm giving you right now. So every moment of your life is concurrent to exactly now. Now, if you were to slice a block universe, and this is maybe it's going over your head or whatever, come back and study this and come back and watch this video afterwards if you want. But I'm telling you, this is how it works. If you were to slice the universe, the galaxy, to our nows right across the galaxy, and then someone in that galaxy started to go away from you, like in a car, that would only be like a minute difference in timelines. But any motion affects time. Whether they're going away from you or coming towards you would affect. And because they're on the other side of the galaxy, the geometry and the math could make them, their simple car ride, it could make their now become 200 years in our past. Or if they're coming towards us, it could make their now 200 years in our future, because of the vast distances and the geometry and space-time, and time is space and space is time. And you need to up your education if you don't understand that time and space are interchangeable. The block universe is taught by, like I said, Niels deGrasse Tyson. It's taught by the science guy. It's taught by everybody. So now, what does this have to do with God? If everything exists simultaneously to now, if your first kiss is simultaneously to tomorrow, then what does that mean? How can that mean that there is a God? How can that mean? Okay, well, let's look at it this way. Do you think that memories are inside of your brain? Do you think that, do you assume, let me put it another way. Do you assume that memories are in a brain? Why would your brain store a license plate number if you're concurrently viewing it now and forever? Why? Tell me the logic and reasoning for encoding that license plate number that you'll always be viewing forever and ever in the block universe. Time, there is no time. Time doesn't, we feel linear. We feel linear and squishy. But what we live in amounts to a common dream a lot more than what you deem yourself, what you pretend to be. You can't just pinch yourself and say you're not living in the same dream like the rest of us. There's no excuse. You know what happened is when you were a baby, someone came up to you and told you that you're a real boy. They said, "Oh, you're a real boy." But nocturnal dream toast is the exact same as kitchen toast. Nocturnal dream toast is the exact same as kitchen toast. Expectations, faith runs the caboodle, cause quantum collapse even into the perceived past. Now, you do not need to understand retrocausality to understand the block universe. And if the block universe exists, and your first kiss is metaphorically happening across the street, then why would you store it in your brain? Why would anything be stored in your brain? Nobody's ever found a brain engram. Nobody ever will. They're fantasies of children thinking that they're real because they pinch themselves too hard. Oh, I must be real. Oh, I pinch myself. That is Mr. Dillahunty. This is your logic. This is your reasoning that you're not in a dream like the rest of us. This is it. That's the proof. Or mommy woo. Your mommy told you that you're a real boy. Those are the two reasons you have for thinking that you're real, as opposed to living in a dream. And I'll go further. I'll say even the past changes, but that's you don't need to understand that. But let's just, for the sake of it, you're gonna up your education on time. You might as well go all the way. I'll put in this thing about Wheeler, and he said that a Wheeler, in the video I'm about to tell you, he says an electron is going forwards in time, and a positron, an anti-electron, is going reverse in time. It's the same electron. It's just going. And he said that there's one view of it is that the electron goes here and the positron goes here, and they come up here and they annihilate when they meet. And he says an alternative way to look at it is that it's an electron here, and then when it gets to here, it turns around and goes back as a positron, backwards in time. They're talking retrocausality. Richard Feynman built a whole body of work on retrocausality in particle physics. You need to up your education if you want to understand things like this. Now, if time doesn't exist, if time is an illusion, then you would have to be a little bit thick to think that you even would need a memory. You don't need memories in a simultaneous universe. Why would everything's happening now. You can look metaphorically across the street, and that's what's happening. After the age of 7, you should be able to notice energy following all thoughts because you're living within a dream. Think of stuff and pay attention. Think of stuff and pay attention. Think of stuff and pay attention. Repetition is the most obvious hack to focus. Repetition is the most obvious hack to focus. Think of something on repeat, like Bigfoot, Bigfoot, Bigfoot. And put some effort into it, pick your own topic or whatever, and put on a random film, and that topic will be embedded in that film. Paint a fence all day, and every sitcom you watch that evening will have fence painting as a theme. The universe retrocausally brings us our things. And you need to sort of you have to grow into the expectations where you're not going to see. It's so much common sense. You cannot prove that you're real just by pinching. And if we are to look at the block universe and retrocausality, and there's a lot more that you're not getting about the level of current physics. Do you know that determinism has been proven a dumbass notion? Determinism is gone. The 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics, that just proved Einstein's determinism was always a dumbass notion. They proved it. It's been proven by the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics that determinism is flawed. They proved Einstein wrong and Niels Bohr right in the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics. You have to be a super determinist to hop aboard, if you want to hop aboard that like kooky bandwagon. So you can be a super determinist. It's so simple. There is no memory. Now, once you grasp that memory isn't inside your noggin, once you grasp that memory is external, once you grasp that memory is external from the brain, doesn't that make dying a little bit more safe in your, if assuming that's where memories are stored as actual events, as opposed to being some engrams and whatever, encoded engrams in some mysterious universe inside of our brain that nobody's yet uncovered or discovered or ever will? You can talk to neurologist after neurologist after neurologist, and they'll say, "Oh, the brain memories are somewhere in the brain. They're in the brain. Yeah, they're in the brain. My mommy said so. A neurologist has got as much chance of finding consciousness as a proctologist or a podiatrist. Stupid. Consciousness is external. And there is no time. So the past changes. There is no time. The past changes and the future changes based on the expectations of the now. And to fully explain God to you, which I'm going to keep going, let's assume that you're smart enough to grasp that your memories are externally stored as actual first kisses, as opposed to whatever the mommy woo says that they're stored in some sort of noggin. Let's just assume that your memories are out there, okay? Now, if you don't need a brain for consciousness, if memories are external, then what about the toaster in your kitchen? Would your toaster in your kitchen need a brain to have consciousness? If what I'm saying about the block universe and Albert Einstein and memories being stored in what we know of as physics currently, now, today, like since 1905, wouldn't that make like a little bit of sense that the toaster could also be conscious? That the toaster could also realize that it's simultaneously like at the factory being made. It knows it's in your kitchen, but it also has void of eyes, ears, nose. It still has a memory that is at the factory being made. And if it puts a time into that, or if it associates that with time, as we might, then you're looking at a group conscious. And if you take a group of ketchup bottles all on a grocery shop shelf and they're all facing the same direction, they all got the same labels, same amount of ketchup and everything like that, and same lids and everything, they're all basically, they have the same resonance. And basically all you are is resonance in like a Walter Russell type universe. All you are is resonance. So when you tune into thoughts, the thoughts that you have are not from your brain. Every thought is itself as conscious as a toaster. If your toaster can be conscious, in my Wayne Hilborn theory of everything, I'm the one that I teach consciousness and reality. I'm just challenging your skepticism because I think it's silly. And Why not? I don't need a script or anything to challenge the stuff I've said all makes common sense. So, anyways, you got all these ketchup bottles. They all have the same resonance. So now you take a pen, you draw a mustache on one, and you call him Fred. Yeah, hey Fred, how you doing? What you're doing is you're personifying that ketchup bottle, and you're drawing it away from the group ketchup bottle consciousness. So, hey Fred, you treat it whatever, like a doll or whatever, a dog with a squeaky toy. If they personify something or we personify something, we open it up to additional thought forms that we are bestowing upon it and opening it all up to more experiences. And lifetime to lifetime it grows. So if the toaster or the ketchup bottle wishes to evolve, or the doll, whatever, the squeaky toy, wishes to evolve into a human, then it would have to become a plant if it wants to learn how to breathe. It would need to be a fishy if it wants to waggle its butt to move. Like lifetime to lifetime, we grow. Like you would have to be a crab to learn opposable thumbs. And so you put yourself together like Frankenstein. You're learning as you go. So there is logic and reasoning to understanding that we could be living in a dream. If you choose to believe that somehow magically there's like Occam's razor says that like a nocturnal dream evolving separate from like reality as a real dream is like kind of weird. Like what are the chances of two ways of experiencing toast evolving separately? Like one's like the real world. I'm a dumb atheist. I'm a dumb skeptic. I think the world is real because my mommy said so. Sorry, Matt Dillahunty. But if the shoe fits, I mean, you're the one that claims that you're a real boy. Can you prove that you're a real boy? Well, I got an idea. You send me a video of you self-pinching really, really, really hard, and I'll believe that you're a real boy, and not living the dream like the rest of us. Or have your mom sign a note that says that you're a real boy, and I will accept that also as 100% proof that you're outside of the dream, same dream as the rest of us. Because that's what you got, you know. That's your logic and reasoning. I'm not a dumbass like Peterson. I'm actually from Toronto, so it embarrassed me. I'm giving you a logic, and I'm giving you the logical reason for God that's been taught for thousands of years. They didn't teach that for thousands of years. But the very first Hermetic rule principle is the universe, the all is mind. The universe is mental, the all is mind. Hermetic principle numero uno. So they've been teaching that for thousands of years. Well, actually, the Hermetic principles were first published last century. But I think that they're legit and they were previously correct. But now, simultaneous time matches the other religions also. Like I haven't spoken of any religion. I've spoken about Einstein's block universe, the twin paradox. I've spoken about Wheeler and Feynman and how electrons are going forward and backwards in time. Let's do.
Why should there be two electric charges? But then we discovered that if you have a particle going one way in time and it turns around and comes backward in time, it behaves as if it had the opposite electric charge and was going in the normal way in time. So that was the idea of electrons and positrons. You might say, if you have an electron here and a positron here, and they come together and annihilate, that's it. But an alternative way to look at it is to say, this electron here goes up, turns around, and goes back here. it doesn't make this annihilation business be so spectacularly different from ordinary deflections of particles.
So that was John Archibald Wheeler, and he was talking about the past changing. Or he's talking about like retrocausality applying at the micro level, at least at the quantum level, and so he believes that is going on, or he believed that was what was going on. So like, there's funky stuff going on that you're not really yet knowledgeable of. So I think it's your lack of knowledge. Well, it is every atheist's lack of knowledge as to why they don't understand the universe, or they don't understand reality, or they don't understand that dying is safe. Because every memory that makes you you is simultaneous to 1,000,000,001 years from tomorrow. The closest analogy would be like playing a Grand Theft Auto 5 video game. This Earth Air, but we're not in it for one lifetime. You sign up, you want to play this video game, you have to go through the motions of like smaller life forms and everything else. So logically and reasonably, there is a reason to think that we live in a common dream. Expectations cause quantum collapse even into the perceived past. Expectations is the same thing as faith, really. So expectations, faith runs the caboodle, cause quantum collapse even into the perceived past. There is no such thing as probabilities in quantum mechanics. Like they claim there is, but it's expectations that make the things. It's the most expectations that wins the football match. It's the most expectations. We live in a common dream. It's a dream that we share. This isn't. It's not a debate. I'm telling you how reality works, logically and reasonably. You're on the side of religion. Because science itself, true or false, science itself is the daftest of all religions if we share a common dream. Like, that's true or false. Science itself is the daftest of all major religions if we share a common dream. True? False? And atheism was always a dumbass notion, my friend, because you can't prove a negative. So why try? Okay. I've given you a very logical explanation for why God exists. And I'll go furthermore and teach you what God is and how he works. So it's been 23 minutes. I'm going to keep going. Okay, now I told you that if you personify a ketchup bottle on the grocery shop shelf, you draw a mustache on it and you call him Fred, then you personify it away from the group ketchup bottle consciousness. And so now Fred is evolving, or the toaster may choose to evolve and keep going until it reaches a human level in a linear time or whatever. You can reincarnate into the past, so there's no such linearness, but we personally evolve. We personally must be male and female in different lifetimes, and because we bring forth to go to the next species, we have to interact with all the thought forms that will need to be in that next species. We'll need to know how to create all the body parts necessary to be in that form to create that form of a baby in that creature. So you had to, we're like immortal changelings, sort of, like we associate with different thought forms that comprise to make us us. So the ketchup bottle is part of a group ketchup bottle consciousness, and it receives thoughts that are limited mostly to what a ketchup bottle might think, because the thoughts themselves are conscious, and they petition them, and thoughts petition our minds. And I don't want to point to my brain when I'm saying minds, but our minds are out there, and the thoughts are also out there. Every word in this sentence has a rudimentary consciousness. Every word. So you have to understand that we're living in what is sort of like a literally the universe can be described in as literary metaphors. Like, if I say the ketchup bottle is a we personify it by drawing a mustache on it and calling it Fred. By personifying it, that's sort of a good understanding of how reality works as a metaphor for what we are. We're personifications away from the group ketchup bottle consciousness. And as we evolve in many lifetimes, whatever we choose to be, but whenever we get to our most godliest self, with the best meditation abilities to push away thoughts or whatever, then what will happen then is, even though there's been trillions of other consciousnesses that have beat us, or zillions that have beaten us to that level in a linear time stance, so to speak, you would still be petitioned by thoughts that feel uniquely yours. Because the thoughts would come to what you feel is your individuality, what your personification you can never lose, because your personification has to exist forever based on what we are. Like, it's you can't erase something that's simultaneous to forever. You can't delete something. You can't delete, you'll be watching this video forever just because it's part of what you're doing in one of your simultaneousnesses. You're living all your lifetime simultaneous to now. You're learning every word in this sentence simultaneous to now. Everything is concurrent to now. Every memory is concurrent to now. You're viewing every license plate concurrently to now. Consciousness is very simple. So simple. I'm describing a very simple way of understanding things. A simple way. The whole we are one, the Buddhist, it starts off Hermeticism, pre-caste system Hinduism, then Buddhism, distant third, and then the Abrahamic religions are just basic or whatever. But there's some things about them that I don't want to talk about religions, but you can use simultaneous block universe time to grasp that memory could be external. If we are one and we've personified, if we are all one mind and we're just personifications down, which is logical and reasonable. It's not logical and reasonable to just assume that you're real because you pinch yourself and tell yourself so. That's not logical. You can't just pinch yourself and say, oh yeah, I'm real, I think, therefore I am. Rene Descartes' mommy never should have told him and Pierre that they're real boys. She was a dumbass. She should have said, hey, you're living a dream. So think positive, be happy. Because manifesting and stuff is real. And when you manifest, many things you manifest won't make linear time sense. So pay attention if you manifest a parking space or a song on the radio or whatever. Like how? How did those things happen without altering the past? So there's certain things that you manifest and you'll be like giving intentions or whatever, and then someone walks in with a box of that something something, and it'll be like, how did that happen? Retrocausally, it had to retrocausality is legit. And you don't have to be smart enough to grasp retrocausality to grasp that Einstein's block universe is a thing. And the block universe is basically the Einstein twin paradox, like expanded to its logical conclusions. So like we know every university is teaching time travel. They're teaching that you hang out by a black hole or you travel fast, you're altering time. Or speed. Any speed is altering time. There's no need for memory. There's no need to store what mankind foolishly deems memory. There's no need to store anything. We are vain. How vain is it that mankind, not just you, how vain is it that we assume that our minds store anything? Like, why would they need to store a license plate number that you're going to be viewing forever? It doesn't make any sense at all. Atheists is a dumbass, silly thing. Now, so, like I said, when you're your highest self, most evolved self, you're going to feel like the thoughts are yours. So that makes you God. You, Matt Dillahunty, evolved into God yesterday, but with hindsight in 2020. You, Matt Dillahunty, evolved into God yesterday, but with hindsight in 2020. Boo! Doesn't your Ouija board tell you anything? I shouldn't joke. I actually like Ouija boards. However, I've used logic and reasoning. I haven't used anything contrary. I haven't even used quantum physics to explain memory. Easily, memory could be simultaneous events in an Einstein block universe. So, anybody that thinks that a brain has to have memory is going to feel linear and squishy. Like, just because your clock goes tick-tock, 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 if that's what you got, if that's what the argument you're bringing to the table, oh yeah, I feel linear and squishy, and Albert Einstein's a dumbass, and John Archibald Wheeler and Richard Feynman, they're dumbasses because my clock says tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. And there's people out there, they think like, oh, like the Einstein twin paradox and stuff like that. They think, oh, that's just like a fun theory and stuff like that. There's a bunch of dumbasses out there right now, but right now, we don't need skeptics. If you're making money as a skeptic, shame on you. Because it's your lack of education. No matter how you spell it. Now, I have a video on dry fasting. I personally used to be as heavy as you, or heavier. And I lost it by watching Star Trek reruns in bed by mixing dry fasting with water fasting. It's a separate process from calories if we induce water deficit in our bodies, because our fat is 7% water, and a water deficit will force our body to seek the fat, 7% water from the fat cells, which is a lot more efficient than doing the calorie stuff, and it's a lot less running. It's a lot more Star Trek reruns. So, watch my dry fasting video on that. But anyways, it's been 33 minutes, or close, it's been a half an hour. You have no logical reason for thinking that you're a real boy. It's reasonable and logical to think that we are all connected and that our mind is external, and that we are merely personifications living in what can best be described as a nocturnal dream. That is the Wayne Hilborn theory of everything. I have, if you want to watch another video on this channel, I suggest my theory of everything, how reality works. I go into a little bit more of depth in the science and reasoning and stuff like that. This is more directed at skeptics and people who use dumbass logic, really, because you start off with the assumption that you have a brain engramic memory. That's an assumption. You assume from the get-go that Earth is somehow real because you can knock on wood and that's the best that you got. You go, oh, I pinch myself and my mom says I'm real. Seriously, wake up. Wake up. Don't be a dumbass.
Think about one, because one of the deepest insights which occurred in the 30s and 40s, physicists called Stuckelberg and then Feynman, was that what is an anti-electron? What is an antiparticle? An anti-electron has the same charge as an electron. Why? Because it's actually the same particle. The only difference is that it's going backwards in time. Okay. And so this was a very profound principle. Feynman actually built his whole machinery for particle physics on that insight. And so from that point of view,
let's look again at this situation and envisage a retrocausality explanation. According to retrocausality, as soon as the measurement was made on the first particle, that decision was correlated back through time to the very moment where these two photons were created, allowing that correlation to influence and embed in both photons so that they agree on their spin direction when measured at some future point in time.
And that's a wrap, folks. I hope I broadened your horizons today. As a modern Canadian magician, I've got a knack for tuning into the universe and understanding the intricacies of reality. From healing to life coaching and fitness instruction, I'm your go-to guy for a holistic approach to well-being. If today's topic struck a chord with you, send some positive vibes out in the universe. And while I don't ask for personal donations, your generosity could help elevate the quality of my future content and publications. Whether through Patreon, direct support, or local collaborations, your contributions are greatly appreciated. Remember, folks, it's all about that water deficit. Dry fasting holds the key to shedding those pesky pounds, and I'm here to debunk the myth that exercise is the be-all and end-all for our weight loss. Forget about calorie counting. It's all about tapping into that 7% water in our fat cells and saying goodbye to them forever. And let's not forget the other nugget of wisdom I bring to the table. The nature of memory is a series of simultaneous events. No brain required to store those precious moments, folks. You'll be conscious forever. If you're hungry for more of what I have to offer, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for future updates. Wishing blessings upon you all, and remember, in a universe governed by the mind, worry is the only true evil. Stay positive, stay blessed, and keep spreading the love.